Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Frank About Health. This is part 3 of Heart Health Month here at Frank About Health and talkradio.nyc, bringing back Peter Wainberg and welcoming back Reatha Gray after her most recent cardiac episode. That Peter, thank you again for subbing when she was going to be on 2 weeks ago. But more importantly, this is going to be a chance to follow up with Reatha since it's been a while she's been on Frank About Health, as well as for you, Peter and Reatha, Reatha, to discuss the situation and how you evolved from it, what you learned, what is you need to do to improve and prevent an event like happening again, among a review of our episode and webinar last week. So I'm dubbing this episode "Start Living Your Life," which has a multifaceted meaning, as you'll learn throughout the hour. And I want to issue my disclaimer first before we continue, and that is that what you will be hearing today are not the thoughts and views of talkradio.nyc or Frank About Health or Freedom Land or Reatha Gray or any of the organizations and hospitals and treatment centers that both Reatha and Peter have been involved in researching the whole cardiac discussion we've had and will be having. Therefore, if any of you are undergoing any cardiac distress, this is a learning opportunity of additional supplemental information that can help in your current treatment protocol. But this is not information to change or alter your ongoing treatment or medications. If you do decide from listening to today's show that there is a change that needs to be made, please consult your primary care physician and work with them to make the appropriate decisions. That all being said, welcome back, Peter, and definitely, Reatha, welcome back to Frank About Health. So I think before we start this current episode discussion, Peter, I'd like you to do a recap of what we spoke about last week.
Can you see my screen okay?
Perfect.
So I just wanted to do a quick recap of last week, and I wanted to share again my story. This is the moment that really changed everything for me. It was the moment that I was at the emergency of the Montreal Heart Institute. I had some pressure on my chest, and doctors told me that I'm born with heart disease. I need urgent major surgery. I have a couple years left to live, and I'm at the highest risk of having a heart attack, and I had absolutely no idea. And the first word I saw was death. And I said to myself, but I'm not really ready to die yet because I hadn't lived my life. In fact, I don't even know what life is. And at that moment, I actually gave birth to the title of this book, Start Living Your Life, because that's really what I wanted, was to start living my life. But I didn't really know what this life was. So I went on this journey and I made some discoveries about what this thing was called life. And so I love to ask people, if you know who you are and you know what life is, you see, you could start living your life. And so from, I think it was episode 1, Frank, we talked about the Bahamas model. And so you are a soul. You're not a soul. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. And as a human being, as a whole person, we live our life, body, heart, mind, and spirit. And so I gave this very confusing space an acronym called your Bahamas. And so this, your Bahamas, your body and your heart and your mind and your spirit, they all have needs. In fact, so your body wants to live. Now, this is health freedom, and this is also financial freedom. Your heart wants to love, your mind wants to learn, and your spirit wants to leave a legacy. And so that's really who you are. But what is life? Life is this incredible journey. It's a journey. Life's longest and greatest journey is from the head to the heart. It's really all about discovering love for yourself. And the foundation of life is really all about your heart health. When you think about everything centers around your heart health. So last week we talked about the 3 pillars of your heart health. It's nutrition at the bottom. This is the foundation, most important, exercise. And we also talked about stress management. We talked about the macronutrients. We talked about the 5 macronutrients. We talked about the 2 micronutrients. So those were the vitamins and the minerals. We talked about the exercises, the balance, flexibility, strength, and cardio. So that's a whole picture within the whole picture of the exercise space. And we had some really great discussions about stress management, mental health, meditation, breath, and exercises. And I threw in a couple of secrets, if you remember. So the secret of mental health was to neutralize your emotions with those 2 words. That's interesting. And then we had the secret of your breath. If you're about to have a heart attack, how do you tell your body that you're not under attack? How do you actually thin out your blood? Will you take those long 3 deep breaths? And one of my favorites is in the meditation. I didn't understand meditation. We talked about the purpose of meditation is to strengthen the mind's muscle. And we talked about the marshmallow and the broccoli model. How can you turn your mind's muscle from a marshmallow, which is weak, into a broccoli, into strong? And how do you gain focus on what's most important in your life? And in this case, how do you gain focus on your heart health? How do you get on your journey and master, awaken to your soul and master your Bahamas and take your Bahamas on a journey? I call it in my book of discovery, adventure, and growth. You're dagging your Bahamas on your journey to your freedom, your health freedom. And so that's really where we left off, Frank. I'm going to share the screen back with everybody.
Yes, yes. We're all back together. And I do remember that part of what we had done towards the end of the show was some of the breathing exercises you had mentioned. And for those listeners and viewers out there who remember that I've had a previous guest on the show talk about the sunshine quotient of how to release stress using your limbic system, there was the ability to breathe in, imagining you're breathing in sunlight, and it reduces your stress and blood pressure. It is another method that Peter was talking about, especially for those that are trying to deal with an ongoing heart condition or even trying to reverse it, because it's all part of a bigger vision, as he mentioned, in terms of the Bahamas model and living your best life going forward. So on that note, now that we've reviewed what we were discussing, here is the best example of what that journey was about over the last 3 weeks, and that is Reatha. And I know we had done a show together a year ago about, I think it was your 5th cardio event, but you had known the symptoms were coming, so you took care of it. In this case, it was unique on many levels. You had no idea you even had one. And as you'll soon explain to the listeners and viewers, it realized it wasn't a cardiac event, but it was something leading to one. So in essence, while it seemed to be concerned medically, you were actually doing preventative care, but with the assistance of family and friends and, of course, the hospital services. So explain exactly, first of all, welcome back, but explain exactly to all of us what happened.
Well, this technically was not one of my cardiac events, that I'm actually very grateful that it wasn't. I don't have normal, or what they consider the typical heart situation alarms. I don't feel the elephant sitting on my chest. I don't feel pounding in my cavity. I don't feel any of that stuff. I feel burning normally. Well, this last episode was something that was a little different. I didn't feel anything. I felt like I had an infection. In fact, I had accused my dentist of giving me an infection because I had had some extensive dental work done. And he kept saying, I don't know what you got, but I didn't give it to you. Whatever you have, it's not caused by your gums or your teeth or anything in your mouth. Well, I insisted that it was, and insisted that he gave me antibiotics, which, you can talk your doctor into almost anything. I usually talk him into harmless kind of stuff like antibiotics. But yeah. He gave me the antibiotics. He said, but, take the full course. But I'm telling you that whatever you have, this may not fix it because it's not caused by your teeth. Well, 3 days into it, I agreed. He was right. This was not caused by my teeth. It was not getting better. The antibiotics he gave me were not helping. Instead of going to the urgent care, which I normally would have done, but because I had so much stuff to do, as we all do, that I just didn't have time to go to urgent care. Well, there was since I've done your show, I've had more work done on my house and been out of my house. Well, again, I was out of my house because there's investigating mole or something else in my house. And I had been staying in a hotel actually a few days. And then I started staying at a friend of mine's house. Well, my cousin from the East Coast decided that she would call me, and she tried to call me all day and I didn't answer. I didn't pick up the phone. I didn't get a message. So she got worried. She called people and ultimately reached the friend whose house I was staying over. And they said, "What's she doing?" And she said, "Well, she's been asleep all night and all day." And they said, "That's not normal. Wake her up." They tried to wake me up. I did not wake up. Consequently, they called an ambulance. I was taken to what I call the hospital from hell. I will not use its name, but it was a horrible hospital. It was a horrible experience. I have let them know, so I don't need to expose them, although I might at some point. And at that particular hospital, they ran the usual tests, but because of my heart history and because they were the hospital from hell, they just focused on the tryptophan. I never said quite right, but it's an enzyme that indicates that your heart is distressed. So they wanted to go in and do a cath scan and look at my veins and my arteries and stuff. And because I didn't trust the hospital, I said, "No, certainly not. You can't do anything with it." So ultimately, I got transferred to Kaiser, which is my normal hospital. They recognized it for what it was. It was a severe infection. It was sepsis. And which is something I knew nothing about, but you can die from. And it's a blessing that I wasn't staying in the hotel at the time, because no one would have come in and realized that I had not gotten up for hours. And so the Kaiser ran all the tests. They said, "No, we agree that your tryptophan is high. Really high. And your heart is under stress, but we don't believe that that's what's causing this particular event." So thank God this wasn't a heart event in this sense, but ultimately if I had been left in a hotel floor or a hotel bed with no one to come get me, it could have had fatal consequences. But yes, I've had, back to the subject, I've had lots of heart situations. The good news is I've gone 2 years without a heart adventure. And so I thought this is my annual heart thing. But they looked at my heart, they said, "Your heart's fine. It's just like it was 2 years ago. The stents aren't moving. You don't have new balloons in your arteries." But I still have the potential and need ongoing treatment of some sort in order for my heart to continue healthily.
Okay, and that all being said, we want to give you a real fresh welcome back to the show after these next couple minutes of commercial break. But I'm glad you're back with us, and you and Peter are gonna have a chance in the next segment to really explore not only what you've been through, but what you hopefully can prevent going through again. That all being said, please stay tuned as we're gonna start living. Well, Reatha's going to start living her life in the next segment right here on talkradio.nyc and on our YouTube channel. Stay tuned.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
He's trouble. Haley Rhodes, I thought I saw you come in.
Mrs. Daniels, how you been?
I am just great. No complaints at all. Just getting started on my holiday baking.
That teddy bear, Jesse, frag him!
Yeah, that's it.
You got to be kidding me.
Excuse us, you'll have to wait your turn. Florida cow is on a massive kill spree.
Damn right I am. Die, you flush suckers, die!
Woo!
Oh, this is what we do now? Wait in line to get pills that keep us well enough to wait in more lines?
Third prescription this week.
You do this 3 times a week? How do you stand it?
Your donation.
Oh, wait. That was $100. I meant to give you a 10. I'll need that back.
I'm sorry, it's locked. They don't trust us.
I'm the only one that gave you any money?
Well, people aren't as generous as they used to be.
I'm sorry to do this, but I need to commandeer your vehicle. It's police business.
We just got married.
Congratulations, but I'm still gonna need to call.
What's going on? What's happening?
Quiet as church mice.
See, these soap operas only give you a couple of minutes.
But they know how to stretch it out and have us coming back.
So, did you all hear all of that, or was it muted?
No, we heard it. I heard it, but I always hear me on TV. What can I tell you?
That was great.
Okay. Okay, because I just got a cue saying they wanted me to unmute, but I'm glad I wasn't talking. All right. So that was my tribute to you, Reatha. You've been on this show 7 or 8 times, I believe. We've talked about senior health care. We talked about caregiving. We talked about women's reproductive health. We've talked about, obviously, your cardiac event, both the first one that you spoke about, and now you're here for this one. You've been a very big advocate for me since we've known each other. We're on our 10th anniversary, coming up next week, actually. And you and I also have already discussed doing something big over the summertime. Of course, more details to follow. But none of that could be possible unless you are living your best life. So I wanted to give you a retrospective of the good things that have happened with you while you've just explained in the last segment what recently happened to you, which, thank God for your family, if nobody found you, you wouldn't be here, and I don't even want to think about that. But what I'm also grateful for is the way that all of a sudden, when you and I are speaking from your hospital bed, I'm literally speaking to Peter that evening, who in the 11th hour wasn't exactly your replacement, but he was the messenger here to hopefully on this episode and in the next segment discuss how to prevent that from happening again, or any of the previous issues that have occurred from even happening again. And as you have mentioned on the show already for the last 3 weeks, Peter, you're saying this condition is reversible. So I'm setting this segment up for the both of you to now engage in the entire conversation that you both can learn from each other on.
Reatha, why don't we begin by taking us through your journey? How did all this begin? And what was your life like as you were going through this journey?
Well, I did not know of any heart ailments that I had, but I was aware that my father had heart issues. And I believe that I believe that my symptoms, my conditions are basically from my father. And I'm always glad to hear that there are ways to reverse it. My father had an opportunity to reverse it. It was in the early stages of triple bypasses and all of these deep heart interventions that they were doing. My father was a very stubborn man. He wasn't willing to take the chance of not being the man he was, strong, healthy, and everything else. So he chose not to have any early intervention. My father died at 48 from heart, whatever. I will probably never know what was the real cause, but it was a heart condition. My first episode with plaque, because a lot of my problems stem from plaque on the veins and arteries, was a stroke that I suffered in 2009. I didn't feel right. I was at a party, I was having conversation. I asked people later, did I act strange? And they all said no, but I knew something was wrong. And I had had my carotid artery ultrasound done through an outside party. It wasn't the hospital or my personal doctors. It was just a service that says we will do things that your doctor will not do or charge too much to have done. So I had that done, and they said, watch this artery. Just, make sure your doctor keeps an eye on it because it's narrowing. And ultimately in 2009, I had a stroke, and they had to go in and clean out the plaque. They couldn't even put a stent in there because the artery had narrowed so much and it was so thin, but they could clean it out and attach it again. So that was my first time. After that, I had about 5 different stents put in, and ultimately a T-bar, which is on the candy cane part of the carotid artery. I don't really know what that means. I just know that I have it. And so my last heart event was 2 years ago. Each time they've been able to go in, do a stent. I've been very fortunate that they've caught it because these are considered silent killers because you don't know you have them. If they burst on you, it's almost immediate death. And I've just been very fortunate because I recognize the signs in my body of, whoops, there's something wrong. I need to be at a hospital. So that's kind of been my journey. Like I said, it's been 2 years now since I had my last event. They accidentally went in and found out everything looks good, but plaque doesn't go away. It's not like it just says, oh, we're done. It continues to coat your arteries, coat your veins, I guess. And I have to be ever vigilant. I talked to my regular doctor today, and she said, if you notice anything strange, go to the hospital because your body is very fragile in some senses. Now, it's fragile in some ways, but I've driven myself to the hospital while I was having heart attacks multiple times now. So it's strong, but at the same time, it has to be taken care of.
I like the candy cane part of the story, because it reminds me how sweet and strong you are through our several conversations. I'm curious to know what was going through your mind through this. Has been going on 13 or 14 years since your first incident. What's gone on in your mind since your father passed away at an early age? And what was sort of going on in your mind as you went through these 14-year journey with yourself? Was it the incident was over and now I'm just going to get back to my life? Or were you actually thinking, was there another element to this journey of healing?
Well, I knew about my father dying young. I didn't realize how young he was. And my mother died before she died at 59. So both of my parents died pretty young. So I kind of started walking in this journey of, well, I'm going to die by the time I'm 60, and just kind of accepted that. Well, I'm well past 60 now. I have not died. And I still need to deal with this ongoing, I don't want to call it an illness, but it's partially
Condition.
an illness.
Condition, yes.
Condition.
Right.
Good word.
Okay.
And so it's really funny, this last scan that they did, I was more awake than usual. For whatever reason, they were concerned about my allergies to a bunch of stuff. So they, I guess, didn't put me as far under. And I just watched the scan. Oh, okay, yeah, that looks good to me. I don't know what I'm looking at. And so each time I go in for a CAT scan, I'm less worried, less concerned. Sure, I'm going to come out of it fine. Sure, they're going to be able to put a stent in. Now, that may or may not always be true, but my fear has gone away.
Your fear has gone away once you get to the hospital.
Yes.
Yes. I would say that medical science has really improved a lot. And I wanted to touch on the hereditary portion. You know, my father, my brother, my uncle, and I all had the same genetic makeup. I'll say genetic, our cholesterol package. We all ate the same food, and that's all why we had the same package. And so in 2019, I became a vegan. And if you go on my website, you'll see I posted my before and after blood test results, and I completely broke the family pattern with a change in my diet. And so I discovered at that moment, it's not hereditary. It's all about what you eat. And so I know we're going to go to break in a second. What did the doctors tell you about plaque? Because I think you knew you had a plaque problem. What did the medical community tell you about plaque and what you could do about it?
And Reatha, hold on.
And I can do this in a minute. Statins is what's recommended. Statins will make you not able to get out of bed. So if you're willing to live your life in bed, statins. Go, Frank.
Take two. No. And either way, that's a perfect segue, everybody. We're going to find out more information about the solutions regarding statins that Reatha just indicated, including, Peter, one of your many secrets, which we have been waiting for since you came on the show 2 weeks ago. So please stay tuned as we're going to tell you all how to start living your life right here on talkradio.nyc and on our YouTube channel, Talking Alternative.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Hey, everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back. So this segment basically is entitled Start Living Your Life. And Peter, take it away. You're going to play his presentation.
Okay, so, Reatha, you and I have a little bit of a similar path. I had a valve problem. You had a plaque problem. But when I got to the hospital and doctors told me I had severe aortic valve stenosis and enlarged aorta, I didn't know what any of this meant. And I actually had to go out on a journey and find out what this was. But I was really in a state of shock for so long and panic. And so I now can say that I have learned about what my condition was, and it made me feel better, although it did take me a long time. So my suggestion, based on my story and your story that we're here together, if you really want to get a clean bill of health in terms of your heart health, my story is all about one that I'm born with heart disease. So you can go and do some tests like an echocardiogram to determine if you're actually born with heart disease. And these procedures are really relatively painless. The biggest pain is either dying or having some disability. And in terms of your case, the majority of the world's problems in terms of heart disease is this plaque in the arteries. So I'm just really wanted to show you, I think it's 50% of all heart cases have to do with lifestyle choices, and it's plaque. So this is really what a clean artery looks like. And by the way, I wasn't even paying attention to my heart. This is going back to 2016. I didn't even understand any part of what my heart was, and I had to start this journey of education. And so following my incident, I ended up writing a book, building a website, and putting a course together that I want to share, because this is all about awakening to what's really most important. And it's awakening to start living this thing called life, this beautiful thing. So I wanted to show you today that what a clean artery looks like. And it's all about, do you have the right lifestyle? Of course, we're all aging a certain way, and there is some genetics, okay? It's not totally about your nutrition plan. And here I just wanted to show you, because we see what we're eating on the outside, but we really don't know what's going on inside our bodies. And so this is what's going on in our bodies. There's a buildup of plaque in our arteries. And as we are spending our life in so many directions, confused about so many things in life, we're born with a healthy heart. We're born with our health, and we're not paying attention to it. So we're taking it for granted. So this is what's going on in our body. And there's this buildup of plaque over time that if this plaque does rupture, it could cause a complete blockage and a heart attack. And it could end up, you could end up on the wrong side of life. So I have to say, my candy cane, you're not only sweet and strong, but you're also quite lucky to be here because of all the incidents you have. And so I think this is really a life-changing slide that I have discovered. And so there's this buildup of plaque over time. And you can see with age, this plaque is building up, and it's due to external forces, I'll say out here, of what we eat. So there's plaque in our foods. And there's also a reduction of what's called there's this magic molecule that's created by the endothelial cells. This is the lining of our arteries. And if there's one word that I'd really like you to remember today. It's your endothelial cell and your nitric oxide. So this is, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a minute. This is a magic molecule that's produced by your arteries, okay? And it actually cleans out the plaque in your arteries, but look what scientists have discovered. It's actually going to go down in if its efficiency over time. And so what happens is when this nitric oxide goes down, the endothelial cells actually get like tacky and sticky, and the plaque starts to stick to it. And so we have an accumulation, an acceleration of buildup of plaque in our arteries. And so, you know, the human body was really designed to live 125 years. And so the average age span has been reduced because of this. And so I want you to remember this slide because there is a significant reduction of blood flow, oxygen, and nutrition going throughout our body, which spans veins, arteries, capillaries, 100,000 miles. That's 2x the circumference of planet Earth. And Reatha, you know, you've had each stent covers 1/4 of an inch in your entire body. And so if you've had 5 stents, you have 1 1/4 inches covered in terms of your plaque. And so I just wanted to let you know, in 1998, these 3 scientists, American scientists, won the Nobel Prize for nitric oxide, the discovery of this absolutely magic molecule. And so Dr. Ignarro here has written this book called No More Heart Disease. The NO is the nitric oxide. And I wanted to share with you some of the incredible wisdom that these guys have discovered that could literally change your life. So this nitric oxide, and this is one of the 2 words that I really want you to take home and do some research on. Dr. Ignarro says in his book, it's the most significant molecule in your entire body. It's the most powerful one, and it's called a signaling molecule because it's going to signal to your endothelial cells. It'll signal to your arteries to dilate, to expand, okay, to relax, to reduce your blood pressure. And it'll also signal to other cells that are dying to, once we pump in some more nutrition into your body, that your body can start healing. This is really a spectacular discovery. This nitric oxide is actually keeping your veins and your arteries clean, and it's delivering oxygen, nutrients to your entire body. So this is really powerful. And it is produced in your blood by all kinds of abundant foods all around us, and we're just not aware of them. Dr. Ignarro says this is a natural cardiovascular wonder drug, all right? And when it comes to your health versus your illness, if you could just increase the level of your nitric oxide, it's really a matter of life and death. If we and so I'm going to show you a couple things we can do to increase our nitric oxide. And at the end of this book, he says, this nitric oxide thing is absolutely a health necessity. And so what does Peter say about this? I like all the P's. Peter says, it's a little model here of awaken, stop, and start. Well, the secret, and I've written in my book, it's on page 12, I call it rule number 12. You've got to see the painful side of food. You've got to see when you're eating that meat, chicken, fish, dairy, or oil, you've got to be able to see that there's plaque building up in your arteries. And so when I look at chicken, when I look at dairy, I look at the plaque that's going into my arteries, and I have lost favor in a lot of those foods. We have to stop pretending that we have that we take our heart health for granted, because we're born with our heart health, and we have to pretend the BS is our belief system. We have to pretend believing that we will have our health forever and that we can just do whatever we want and retain our heart health. And of course, Peter says the greatest thing we can do is start going on a prevention program, because here's the thing. If you're aware now that you have plaque buildup in your artery, and this plaque could rupture at any time, you know, you can have a heart attack. And I'm going to tell you the statistics are 1/3 of people that have heart attacks die, and 1/3 of people have permanent damage. I'm inspired by my father's brother who's in a wheelchair, and my first cousin who's also in a wheelchair due to heart disease. And so this is really the big picture of what I wanted to share with you. We can boost nitric oxide through nutrition. This is the food we're eating, through exercise and through supplements. And the secret is in the synergy. And so it's the synergy is the strategy in doing all of this stuff together. Okay, so Reatha, was I able to help you and inspire you and share some great secrets and wisdom with you? We're going to talk a little bit more in the next segment. We're going to expand on the last slide.
Well, I understand the badness of plaque. I really understand the badness of statins. To try to fight back with statins, it does not work. I'm just a bad patient, Peter. Help me be able to see that bad plaque is bad.
Well, this is what I do in my course, my 6-week program. I'm going to talk about in the next segment. It's all about mindset. This is not about your arteries. It's not about plaque. It's not about food. It's really about, Frank said it all, it's about start living your life. It's really about your life. And so what's greater for you? Is it the food you eat, or is it actually your life? And so we don't actually work on our life. We're busy working in our life. And so this is part of the awakening process that I help people to go on a journey of organizing your thoughts. You know, this is the mental health aspect of your spiritual awakening. And so how do you clarify your thoughts in terms of how should I live my life, and what should I do to eat better, and how do I exercise, and what's most important? And if there's one message that I really wanted to share with you, what is most important, it's your freedom from heart disease. Really, and that freedom from heart disease leads to also freedom from chronic illness. So the truth is it's better to be above ground than below ground. And if you want to be above ground, it's all about the quality of your life. And if you can actually reduce the plaque in your arteries, okay, Dr. Ignarro says it's a minimum of an extra 7 healthy years of your life. And the human body could live to 125 and up. I've even seen some statistics at 150. But the reason why the averages are down, it's because of, they call it the Industrial Revolution, has created all these foods that taste good and that people are getting addicted to. So, you know, a lot of these food companies hire chemists to actually put additives in the food to hijack our brains, Reatha. So I really wanted to share that with you. And this is part of the journey of this transformation. It's a journey of transforming your mind first. It's mind over body. If your mind is convinced of something, it'll take your body there. Reatha?
Now, I just want to wrap up in the final minute as bullet points for both of you, that basically what we're now going to wrap up the show with is about the future of living your life with synergy and with respect and with understanding as to how to be a better patient, but more importantly, how to live your life even better than you have been. And that's what I'm hoping that in the final segment, it'll just set up the establishment of the platform of Freedom Land for the listeners and viewers out there to understand that the road to freedom is the road to what I've always been saying on Frank About Health, living your best quality of life. And so that is essentially where I'm glad we were able to start the show by recapping last week. And then, of course, recapping the fact, Reatha, you live a dichotomy of someone who's already proven track record in the entertainment industry. And then you also have an unfortunate track record of being in and out of the hospital. So now I'm hoping that after what we saw with the whole example of nitric oxide being the ingredient to reduce the plaque and possibly even reverse the condition as a whole, the stents can be used as a supplement rather than the cure-all, which it hasn't exactly been, but it's just buying time. In this case, I'm looking forward to the next segment where we will really learn about all of the aspects of your 6-week course, Peter. In addition, just showing Reatha how we're going to continue on living even a much better 10 years beyond the one that we've just completed. So everyone, please stay tuned as we're telling everyone to start living your life right here on talkradio.nyc and on our YouTube channel, Talking Alternative. Be back in a few.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargeman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Okay, we're finally here at the moment where Peter is going to discuss how with Freedom Land and his support and his course and all of that he's spoken right here about on Frank About Health for the last 3 weeks, how we can live our best life with synergy and self-respect.
Thank you, Frank. So look, here again is the big picture. Reatha, how are you going to reverse your condition? It's very simple. Whoops. Everything is very simple in life if you know, but everything is difficult if you don't know. How are we going to how are we going to actually get rid of this plaque? How are we going to increase blood flow, oxygen, nutrition? We're going to do it through your food, through exercise, and we're going to do it through supplements. The secret is in the synergy of all three. So right now, I'm just going to talk to you about the supplements. I will mention that the secret in the nutrition is to dramatically reduce your saturated fats. Okay, so in this segment, I'm going to talk more about the supplements, and the supplements to really energize, to to awaken these nitric oxide molecules to help you on your journey. So interesting, it's all in the synergy Dr. now talks about in his book, and there is a company called Synergy that has produced this, I'm going to call it the perfect trifecta. And so this product on the left here is arginine. So arginine is a food supplement that actually gets converted in your blood to nitric oxide. How about that? And so this product is all about it. So these are all food supplements. This product is going to boost your cardiovascular health. Now these are the European names. This is in North America. This is called Mystica. So this is you can see it's just actually fruits to balance your immune system, and it supports cell protection. And this is actually called chlorophyll in North America, and it's there to improve the blood quality. So this Mystify, this is a natural antioxidant system. It's going to be a natural pain suppressant, antivirus, antifungal, anti-inflammatory. It fights and neutralizes free radicals. And this chlorophyll is it's nutrition to improve your blood quality. It removes toxins. It does the cleansing and detoxification. It balances your pH to protect against disease. It aids in digestion. Of course, it's also an antioxidant to protect against free radical damage. And it also supports strong bones and muscles. So I wanted to share with everybody some free resources that I have. If you go on my website, so this is either letsbeatheartdisease.com or myhearthandbook.com, you can access a free copy of my book. It's at the bottom of the homepage. And this is the 4 messages that I wanted to share with everybody that you need to know that I discovered on my journey. 90% of heart disease is preventable. Don't be afraid of heart disease, just become aware of what you need to know when it comes to your heart health. As I mentioned earlier, on page 12 of my book, I have a big blow up image of plaque in your arteries. We call it rule number 12. You've got to see the painful side of what you're eating. You've got to see the painful side of food. A third of people who have heart attacks die, and a third of people have disability. So the odds are not in your favor that you're going to have your regular life back. And so you have to see the painful side of food, and you have to know your numbers, okay? What gets measured gets done. Another free resource. So I created the book. It's an introduction to the whole heart health space. It's heart health, awareness, prevention. And so I also have a website. So you can go to the website, and I share with you the 6 steps that I've created to help you on your journey. It all begins with awakening. Now you've got to be awakened to the fact that you have a heart, that you need to take care of it. It runs on autopilot, but it's not going to run autopilotly, healthily your whole life. And now you've got to get on this journey of education. And my website has got literally dozens and dozens and dozens of YouTube videos, articles, resources of the world's greatest minds teaching us about heart disease awareness and prevention. And I also wanted to share with you the top 8 things that you need to know about your heart health. They're broken down into behavior and metrics. So when it comes to your behavior, it's all about nutrition, it's exercise, it's sleep, and it's tobacco. And that includes the dry tobacco and vaping. When it comes to the metrics, the things that you really need to measure, it's your cholesterol. The key one there is your LDL cholesterol, your blood pressure, your glucose, and your weight. Okay. And so this is really about getting your BMI down to an ideal level of 22 to 24 as a lifetime goal, getting your cholesterol down below 80 milligrams per deciliter. That is the goal. I also have just launched in September of 2022. It's a heart health mastery program. It's nutrition to prevent heart disease. Okay, it is a 6-week program, and I'm calling it the smear program. It's smearing health all over your body. And how did I get the smear? Well, it's the reverse of the 6-week program. It's the S in smear is start, measure, meal, miracle, E for education, A for awakening, and the R, this is all about reversing heart disease. So, Frank, you said it, the greatest secret of our generation that scientists have discovered, this is completely reversible. So, Reatha, if you want to go home a happy girl with maybe an extra candy cane, okay, it doesn't really matter what happened, before this moment. You can just start on your journey right now by just making some better choices in your heart health program. And I also wanted to let you know, this is where you can reach me by email. You can reach me by a free consultation, and you can also reach me on Instagram. And my message is, life is short, life is precious. 50% of men, 64% of women die without any warning signs. So start your journey to your heart health, your freedom, and your happiness. I have never been healthier. I'm 63. I have never been happier in my entire life. And finally, I have to share this quick story with you because when Frank introduced me to Reatha behind the scenes, she said, I said, who's Reatha? And he said, well, Reatha, like Aretha Franklin. And so when I was a teenager, I was a juggler, and I was like a disco juggler, but I never understood the lyrics. And so I ended up thinking about Reatha and Aretha all over the last few weeks. And I looked at her favorite song, her most popular song is Respect. And I'm tying this into Start Living Your Life because it's all about your soul, awakening your soul to what your soul really wants. It's all, here's the beginning of the lyrics. It's what you want, baby. I got it. Your soul's trying to tell you, I got your health. If you just awaken and you just listen to me, what you need, do you know I got it? Okay, your soul needs everything that you need. You just have to awaken to listen. So there's two voices in your head. There's the voice of your heart, the voice of your mind, and the voice of your soul. And all I'm asking, it's a little bit of respect. So I'm going to play the first minute of the song to bring some energy.
We got to wrap it up. So we're going to wrap it up with the song and then go out. But everyone, please stay tuned for our Friday slate of shows. Welcome back, Reatha. Thank you again, Peter, for the last 3 weeks. Sam, thank you for producing this episode. And everyone can ask questions live on YouTube right now, and Peter and I will be there to answer them.
Here we go.
So everyone stay tuned for some respect, and we'll see you next week.
This is the song of inspiration.
What you want?